There are thousands of foods that have been linked to allergic responses, and in principle, any item may be an allergy candidate. However, the proteins and pollens in food are the real components to which humans may be allergic. These are not found in all foods, or at least not in large amounts. Can you be allergic to apples? Yes, but since they contain so little protein content, even if you are allergic, it's unlikely you will have noticeable side effects like a skin rash, hives, or sneezing. Among those eaten, Gala apples have the least amount of protein, and Starking has the most. In skin prick tests, that's why the latter variety tends to have more pronounced results. EpiPen box. It's not just a coincidence that the 8 most common food allergens are protein-rich. Milk, eggs, fish, crustacean shellfish, tree nuts, peanuts, wheat, soybeans. Many within these categories are also high lectin foods. Is that just a coincidence, or do their presence play a part in symptoms? It's possible that your side effects might not even be from soy, nut, or dairy allergy. They might be caused by you have an increased sensitivity to a specific form of lectin poisoning. The most common thing you've never heard of. Lectins were discovered almost 130 years ago, in 1888. That's well over a decade before aviation, something we have since mastered. Yet these commonly occurring compounds largely remain a mystery. And while you may not be flying every day, it's guaranteed that you are eating foods containing lectin on a daily basis. Glycobinding proteins, GBPs, are a category of proteins that bind specifically to certain sugar molecules. The glyca is the same prefix you see in the word glycation. That describes what happens after a protein or fat binds with a sugar molecule. This binding process can cause inflammation and the creation of advanced glycation end products, AGEs, which are compounds associated with numerous age-related diseases. It's why the apparent anti-glycation benefits of carnosine are so intriguing. While some are influenced by diet, most of the glycation in your body will take place no matter what you eat. Lectins are a defense mechanism that all life forms appear to have. Essentially, they are a low-level toxin. The purpose of lectins is to discourage other animals from eating that life form. By triggering a negative reaction in the predator, that life form is then viewed as an undesirable food source, hence, aiding its future survival. Scientists have only recently concluded that they are found in every plant and animal. In fact, scientists have yet to identify a single organism, whether that's something as large as an animal or as small as an insect or bacteria, which does not produce glycan-binding proteins. Whenever they have looked for them in a given species, they found them. For example, research published in 2015 found them in dozens of different fish which were tested, including those we commonly eat like salmon, catfish, trout, tilapia, mackerel, and even eels. These 50 are just a sampling of the thousands, perhaps tens of thousands, in our diet, most of which are unknown or unstudied. Remember that this ranked table is by alphabetical order. Not many of them have had their exact percentages determined, which makes a list ranked by lowest concentration or potency impossible as of today. If something does have a higher amount, that does not necessarily mean it's the worst type of food. For example, with tree nuts, the dietary issues tend to revolve around their high phytic acid content and allergy-producing proteins. Most research suggests their lectin content is not pro-inflammatory or causing other effects in humans. If you want to blame nuts for weight gain, it looks like they will fall squarely on their high fat and calorie characteristics. Why? Because these sugar-binding proteins are found in everything you eat, to at least some degree. Some of those listed, particularly the grains and milk, are singled out for having greater concentrations, but don't interpret that as meaning meat, seafood, fish, and non-nightshade fruits and vegetables don't contain lectins, because all those do too. In short, that makes lectin-free eating impossible. Especially since some types are not destroyed by heat or gastric acids. Since we're talking about an unknown number of different types, you can't put them all under the same umbrella. If two foods had a 1% concentration, but they were different types, then would you be able to say they are equal? Not necessarily. Some types appear to have no effect in humans, while others may be inflammatory or even deadly. Ricin. Ricin is one of the most deadly poisons known to mankind. It is a lectin found in castor beans. Just an isolated speck of it might be all it takes to kill you. Literally, a speck on the tip of an umbrella can kill a human. That's how Bulgarian dissident Georgy Markov was killed. During the Cold War, he was assassinated with an accidental umbrella poke. What about their beneficial effects? Any buzz you may hear is that lectins are really bad for you. That their intolerance makes you fat or has inflammatory side effects. What they often fail to mention is that depending on the type, they can have a neutral effect, not being bad or good, or even offer benefits for human health. That's right, lectins can be healthy and good for you. You can't paint them all with the same brush. It's kind of like people who start with the premise that bacteria are bad. True, many are dangerous to humans, but many are beneficial and actually necessary for our survival. Without your gut flora, you would not be able to digest nutrients and would die. You can't avoid lectins entirely. Common sense tells us that if their consumption was entirely bad for us, then no one, humans or animals, would have them in literally everything they eat. Affecting us differently. The rationale for how lectins work the way they do is actually quite brilliant. As a human, if you were designing them for your own body, your goal would probably be to make them harmless for your species, but toxic to all other life forms who may want to feed off or eat you. That would be the best approach to ensure your survival, right? Because whether it's a bear, a lion, a dog, or even a mosquito, none would want to eat you, because they would associate you, humans, with being toxic. Well, if you designed your lectins that way and each species did the same for theirs, what would be left to eat on this planet? We would all be toxic to one another. On the flip side, being edible to everyone is having the pendulum swing too far in the other direction. If the berries on a bush could be eaten by every animal and insect, then how would it ever survive? It might not, because it would have a bullseye on it from every species who encountered it. But let's say you took that same bush and made the berries toxic to mammals, but safe for birds. Now you have a balance. The life of the bush is protected from most, but its life is extended to some as a food source. No one can know why God works the way God does, but this theory is the best we can come up with using our very limited human minds. Lectins are bad. You can think of them as a low-level toxins. Just like chemical poisons, how they may, or may not, harm you depends on the type and amount encountered, along with your body's unique biology. When harmful, lectins and inflammation go together like two peas in a pod, pun intended. But the cause of this inflammation can differ depending on whether it's occurring inside of your GI tract or outside of it. Gastrointestinal symptoms like flatulence, bloating, stomach aches, diarrhea, and that whole gamut of side effects can occur with beans. Many blame lectins for that, but it's the oligosaccharides such as raffinose and stachyose which are causing that. The fact that beans are high lectin foods is irrelevant to those side effects, at least for most people. When it comes to beans, peas, lentils, and other legumes, humans don't make the enzyme known as alpha-galactosidase, which is needed to digest them. So they ferment in our digestive tract, and that is what's causing the side effects. However, many other species, including other mammals, do have the enzymes and can eat them just fine. For us, humans, popping a couple Beano tablets can work wonders at combating gas and bloating, since it introduces enzymes with your meal which break down these tough-to-digest beans. If you enjoyed this video, kindly press the like button. Also, don't forget to subscribe with notifications on, so that you don't miss out on videos like this. Thank you for watching.